Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a player ratings for the Springboks for the season. We're going to start off with the forwards. There's a long list here, so let's get right into it. So obviously the Springboks had a very phenomenal year. I mean, 86% win rate or something like that. So that is absolutely huge. And there's been a lot of forwards, a lot of debuts, a lot of forwards that may have been moved a bit out of the system. The pecking orders changed a bit. But let's get right into it. Starting off with the props, Zachary Porton. Now, Zachary Porton has a really bright future with the Springboks. I think he's going to be a 50 cap, maybe even a 100 cap player. I'd like to see him get a few more caps for the Stormers. I don't know what's going on there right now. He might be injured right now, I'm guessing. But he was really good every time he played. He was solid at set piece, got his job done, and he can tackle really hard. I think that's one of his strong points that really makes him stand out, is his defense. He's a really good player. He's mobile as well, can move quite well. So he's a really good player, and I'm really looking forward to his future. So yeah, 7 out of 10 for him for the season. Happy to see him get his debut, and looking forward to see how he progresses. Next one, Volku Low. Volkulo's had an incredible year. He's had an absolutely incredible year, and I've gone for a 9 out of 10 for Volkulo for the season. I mean, every single time he's played for the Springboks, he's stuck up his hand, he's put in the hard work, and he's just dominated his opposite number. So, really positive year for Volkulo. I think this was definitely his best international season yet, and I can't wait to see how he progresses. He's going to be a key part of the Springbok team going forward, whether he starts, whether he plays off the bench. He's just phenomenal. I'm really looking forward to see how he goes over the next few years leading into the World Cup. He's going to have a massive role to play. The next prop on this list, a guy that's maybe been phased out of the system a little bit, Vincent Koch. For him, he's dropped down the pecking order a bit, and I've gone for a 5 out of 10 for Vincent Koch. Not the season he would have hoped for. I mean, even at the Sharks now, he hasn't been playing much. Might be injured, might just be an age thing, but he was a really good player for the Springboks. He's been phenomenal throughout his career, played a lot of games off the bench. He's been huge for the Springboks in his career, so he's had a massive role with the Springboks in the last 2 World Cups. So I'm not surprised seeing a guy like him being dropped down the pecking order, but it's time for the younger guys to get more of a chance. I mean, with 2027 around the corner and looking into the future for 2031 as well, a guy like Vincent Koch, I don't see him really being a big part of that whole group, but yeah, every time he plays for the Springboks, you're not upset about it. He's always made a big impact, but yeah, 5 out of 10 for him. Also, for this player ratings, I'll be rating them against their past season. So if a guy's had a debut season, I might be a bit more lenient towards them, because I mean, a guy like Zachary Porton getting a 7, say now he's been playing for 3 seasons, it might not have been a 7, but because it's his first season, a 7, because just giving him a bit of the benefit of the doubt, and just the debutants just being a bit more lenient. Next up, a guy who's really impressed me this year, Thomas du Toit. I've gone for an 8 out of 10. He made the dream team for the World Team of the Year, and that really shocked me. I mean, I wasn't surprised afterwards. I took time to reflect, and he's been really solid for the Springboks this year. He's played a lot of games this year, and him and Volkulo have been really good outside of Oxenchair. I was a bit worried to see what would happen after the likes of Kitsoff and Malherbe leave, but a guy like Thomas du Toit has really put his hand up, and I think he's a really good starter for the Springboks, and I'm really looking forward to see how he goes over the next few seasons. But he's been phenomenal, and he's returning to the Shark tanks as well. So he's going to be a very good signing for the Sharks next season. I'm really looking forward to see how he can help those young props at the Sharks, the likes of Patu Ganyane, Mdanda, Henry Jacobs, some really good props that just maybe need a bit of guidance from a high-quality player like him. Now, for the man himself, the human fridge, Oxenchair, I've gone for an 8 out of 10. He had an unfortunate end to the season. I think he was honestly probably my favourite for the World Player of the Year this year, but 8 out of 10 for Ox. I thought he's had a very good year, really good player, and I think he deserves to win a World Player of the Year before he retires. So let's hope next year can be one of his best, or even 2027. Let's hope 2027 can be one of his best years, because he deserves it. He's such a good player. He's so dominant, and he's just, if you think about where he started his career to now, he's just come such a long way. I mean, he's just an absolute force to be reckoned with on the field, and the Springboks are very lucky to have a guy like him. He's a game changer in the forwards, and probably the best scrummager in the world. Him and Volkulo, I think, are the 2 best scrummagers in the world right now. So the Springboks are blessed to have 2 props like that right now. The next prop on this list also made his debut this year, Nedling Fischer. I've gone for a 5 out of 10 because he only really played 1 game this year, but he did make his debut, so it's really good to see that. If I have to be honest, I don't really see him being part of the squad long term. He's a very good player, and I rate him quite highly. It's just what I think that the Springboks are looking for probably doesn't suit his play style and the way he's playing right now, but he is a solid guy. You can bring him in at any time and he can put in a big performance. Nedling Fischer, 5 out of 10. Gerard Steenkamp, 8 out of 10. He was absolutely dominant this season. He was dominant. Every time, we were really unlucky when he had an injury, because after his injury, he came back and he was just dominant. He's one of those players, nobody really talks about him. He just gets the job done. I feel like he never says a word. He's probably the quietest guy in camp. He just seems like that kind of guy that never says a word. But his performances speak louder than his words. He is such a good player for the Springboks. He's been such a big finding for Rassie and them. I mean, he's just stood out so much over the last few seasons, and he is a key part of the Springbok team going forward. He's going to have a massive role to play in the 2027 World Cup. The next prop on this list, Bowen Venter. Dave made his debut this year. He honestly really impressed me, especially towards the end of the year. I know he got subbed off quite early against France. He looked quite disappointed. And Coach Rassie and them said that he just needs to get used to the intensity at test match level. But he had a very strong end to the year. And I really liked the role he played going into the end of the year, especially with the Oxenchair's injury. He stood in, had some strong scrums, and did very well. So 7 out of 10 for Bowen Venter. He impressed me, and I'm looking forward to see if he gets another opportunity, how he goes. He's obviously signed for the Lions now for next season, so the Lions get another Springbok player, so very good signing for the Lions. They'll now have Asanati Slabakanya and Bowen Venter. And talking about Asanati, I've gone for a 6 out of 10. Just because he didn't play as much as I would have liked to see him play. But I really think he will make a massive impact for the Springboks in years to come. There's definitely more to come from him. I mean, he is an absolute wrecking ball. He's actually very mobile for his size, and he's a really good player. Ball in hand, defense, he makes huge hits. I mean, this weekend against the Stormers, he absolutely smashed their loose forward, Marcel Tienes, and he absolutely smashed him. And he's just a guy who takes names. He's just such a dominant figure on the field. And I can't wait to see how he goes also leading into 2031, where he'll be 32 years old in 2031. So he'll be basically in his prime kind of for the props. So right now the props in their prime is kind of 28 to 32, 33. So yeah, he'll be in his prime then. Jan-Hendrik Wessels can play prop, can play hooker, could probably play loose forward as well. He's a bit of a game changer. I really like him in the bomb squad. I've gone for a 7 out of 10 for him. He's a very impactful player. He makes a big impact off the bench. And what I was saying earlier in the season is I really like him and Arge Snyman coming off the bench together, especially the way they can keep the ball alive, just play really good rugby. And I almost prefer them coming off the bench just being a starter, because I feel like they impact the game more when the game is more loose, more open, and when the Springboks really have a team under pressure, or if they need game changers to break the game open to maybe chase a score or to just get a win in a close game. I think Jan-Hendrik Wessels is a key player for the bomb squad going forward. Another debutant here, a lot of debutants, Marnus van der Merwe. I've gone for a 6 out of 10. He's a solid player. He plays for the Scarlets in Wales, so he plays physical rugby week in, week out. Those Welsh guys are really physical, so I think he's in a good setup to progress going forward. And I think Marnus van der Merwe is a good player, 6 out of 10. I think he will play more often for the Springboks going forward. He's a player I like. I really like him. Like every time I've seen him play, he just looks like a polished player, got good hands. Or he looks like he fits into the system well, and he looks like he fits into any system he plays in quite well. So yeah, a really skillful player, and I like Marnus van der Merwe, but a 6 out of 10. Now, World Player of the Year, Malcolm Marx. I have gone first time ever on the channel for a 10 out of 10. I think you only deserve a 10 out of 10 if you get World Player of the Year. And he was the most important forward in the Springboks, if not the most important player, but we'll get into that. Yeah, he was so important for the Springboks. He played, I think it was nearly 90 or 80% of the minutes at hooker. I mean, Bongi Mbanambi being phased out a bit, Marnus van der Merwe and Johan Grobler coming in, not really getting that much game time. Malcolm Marx had a lot of weight on his shoulders this season, and it paid off. I mean, World Player of the Year, and he deserves it. He absolutely deserves it. He's a game changer. He is probably one of the best fetchers in the team. Him, Marco Verstaden, Kwagga Smith, really good fetchers. And I mean, he's a guy I'm really looking forward to seeing how he progresses from here, because he's not that old either. He's still got prime years ahead of him. So yeah, 10 out of 10, amazing player. Johan Grobler next. I've gone for a 7 out of 10. I think he will play more in 2026, and he will be a key part of the 2027 squad. He's a great player. He always plays really well for the Bulls. And what I saw at the end of the season, which I really like, is that backup front row that they use the full Bulls backup front row. Gerard Steenkamp, Volkulo, Johan Grobler, they really gel well together. And if you have a lock like Ruan Norkia in the team, and maybe an Ulrich Low going forward when he gets back healthy and can have this game at that standard again, then you have a bit of cohesion there, which the guys seem much more comfortable with. But yeah, Johan Grobler's a guy that really impressed me. I think right now he's probably number 2 on the pecking order. I don't know. I don't know what their plans are for Bongi and Benambi, but I think right now for me he's probably number 2 if I had to do a power rankings, which is coming soon. A video for the power rankings is coming soon. Bongi or Benambi, I've gone for a 5 out of 10. He was a bit wayward at the set piece every time he played for South Africa. And I'm just reading my notes here, and he just needs to get back to his best. He needs to get back to his best. He's a very important player, and it just seems like, especially all those forwards that play at the Sharks, it seems like they're almost lazy when they play for the Sharks, and it affects them at Springbok level. It's like they expect things to happen too easily for them. But don't get me wrong, Bongi Benambi is one of my favourite players. When I see him, I just think Springboks. He's just an absolute legend, and he's a beast on the field. I just want him to get back to what he was. So I've gone for a 5 out of 10. Disappointing season for Bongi Benambi, and he's going to have to work really hard to make his way back into the Springbok team. He had a good game against the Bulls last week. I mean, getting a win against the Bulls as well for the Sharks. Winning those types of games and actually caring about your performances at club level will only help these players that are getting phased out. So I think that's an issue that needs to be addressed with those older players that maybe doesn't seem like they care enough about their clubs. But yeah, Bongi Benambi, 5 out of 10. Hope to see him more. Hope he can pick up his game a bit. Going on to the locks now, Salman Murat, I've gone for a 4 out of 10. Now, Salman Murat's a player I've rated him before. Like, I actually think he's quite a good player. He just needs to get his head back into the game. Like, I feel like sometimes when he captains a team, he only focuses on captaining the team and doesn't really focus on his performances that much. I mean, I remember this guy in 2016 at Craven Week and SA Schools being a dominant figure that would run over people. I have this clear memory in my head. Salman Murat against JJ van der Mesht at Craven Week when JJ van der Mesht was in grade 11. Salman Murat absolutely destroyed him in one tackle. And I really wish we can get that player back right now because he can be a dominant figure. I've seen him in person. He's huge. So like a guy like Salman Murat, I'd really like to see him get back to his best. And he played against Italy this year and he didn't have his greatest performance. And he's a young lock. If you can just get a few games under his belt like Ruan Nortje and play a bit more like that, like an engine room type of role, I think he can go far with the Springboks. But he just needs to, I don't know, maybe have a mindset shift of the way he plays and the style he plays. But because he's a good player and there's definitely a lot of potential there. So yeah, 5 out of 10 for Salman Murat. Now, the other young lock on the team, Ruan Nortje, I've gone for a 9 out of 10. I honestly think Ruan Nortje right now is the first choice. I really think he's the first choice lock, and I think he's probably one of the first players on the team sheet every week. And I think right now, if they had to play in a World Cup final, he would be in the number 4 or 5 jersey. He is such a good player. He can play flank as well. He can play 8. I think, honestly, for him, 4, 5, and 7 are his 3 key positions in the team. And I think one day he might just be the Springbok captain. Honestly, if I had to put my money on it, I think 2031 World Cup, Ruan Nortje might be the Springbok captain. So that's a big, bold statement, but I think that could be the case. I thought he had a great season this year. Every time I see his name on the team sheet, I almost calm down a bit because he's such a good player, and I think he'll have a massive future with the Springboks. I think he will get to 100 caps. No doubt about it. Is he the next Etzebeth? I don't think so because they play different styles. Etzebeth was more of a dominant figure, running over people. But I think Ruan Nortje really gets stuck in, gets the dog work done, gets the hard work done, and he's such a good player, and I really rate him very highly. So he's one to look out for. I think he might make the World Dream Team of the Year multiple times in his career. Great player. Yeah, he's really peaked at the right time because there was a lot of chat about the Springboks needing a few locks. So yeah, they're like the Springboks saying what's going to happen after Evan Etzebeth and Louis Diaga and Franco Mostert retire. And I think we found the answer. The next lock, Arge Snyman, I've gone for an 8 out of 10. I think it was one of his best seasons in a Springbok jersey. Every time he touched the ball, it seemed like something was going to happen, almost like an extra backline player. I just love seeing him on the loose, breaking the lines. I remember that try against Wellington. Kobus Reinach gave him the silky pass to the left, under the poles, really hammered the game down for the Springboks, and they thumped the All Blacks that game, and he was a key driving figure in that game. So yeah, Arge Snyman, 8 out of 10. I thought he was phenomenal this year. I'd like to see his impact from the bench always, and I think he's a key bench player going forward for the Springboks, a really key figure for the Springboks, and I'd like to see him start a few more games, but as I said with Jan-Hendrik Wessels, I think those two almost play better off the bench and make more of an impact. Next, I've gone for Louis Diaga. I've gone for a 7 out of 10 just because he's made his big comeback this year after a few years off. And he honestly hit the ground running. He's been physical. He's been great for the Springboks. And I think I'm really looking forward to seeing him get more game time. The red card was unlucky, but he had some solid performances this year. Honestly, he did. So yeah, 7 out of 10 for Louis Diaga. Great player. And I'm really looking forward to see how he goes because he just looks keen to get out there. passionate to play, and you need guys like that. The Springboks are right. He's basically 2 years younger because he missed out on all those years with his injury, so he's fresh and he's ready to go. Jean Klein, I've gone for a 6 out of 10. He's a very, very underrated player, Jean Klein. He is a very underrated player. If people actually watch his games for Munster, he is physical, he is dominant, he is such a good player. And I'd like to see him get a bit more game time for the Springboks because he, honestly, I think he could really make a big impact at the Springboks, and he's a great player. And he seems like a good guy for the team. He seems like a good team player as well. So, yeah, he's one guy I think could be there. And I think right now, if you had to play a World Cup, I don't think he'd be in the starting teams, but he'd probably play against the weaker nations. But he could probably be captain of those games. He's a really good player, and I think he's a good leader as well. Franco Mostert, mixed bag season. He'll be disappointed he didn't play as much as he would have liked to, and he will still be a key figure going into 2027 because he's a great player. He's got a massive engine. I just think if you had to put him against Rowan Nortje right now, they'd probably choose Rowan Nortje, just with the more impact he can make. But I think Franco Mostert's still a key player. And if a guy like Peter Step du Toit gets an injury, you can just slot him in there and he'll be fine. So, I mean, he's still a very important player. He just played a lot less this year, so I've gone for a 6 out of 10. Now, for Eben Etzebeth, I know he had a bad end to the year with the red card. Now he's on a break, probably in Belito on the beach somewhere, sipping a few cocktails. I don't know. 7 out of 10. I've gone for a 7 out of 10. People probably won't like this, but I don't think it was Eben Etzebeth's best season in a Springbok jersey. And I'm not talking about the bad end to the season. I'm talking about his performances in general. I just think he didn't really make the same impact he made in other seasons. I thought he gave away penalties a bit too easily, and I thought he just wasn't as sharp as other seasons. And I know people might disagree completely, and I still think he had made good impacts. He still had good games. But if we're talking about Eben Etzebeth, the guy who scored the winning try against France in the semi-final, the guy who put the big tackle on Richie Mwang in the final, I don't think we had that player this year. So I'd like to see him get back to his best. But yeah, he's still a key figure in the Springboks team, and he will always be a starter when he's available. That's just the truth about it. Now, Kobus Visser. Kobus Visser, I've gone for a 7 out of 10. He didn't play as much as I would have liked. I would have liked to see him play a bit more. But I thought he had a good start. I mean, he made his debut, and he's a very physical guy. I really like watching him play. Every time I watch him play, he's like intense. He's physical, and he's a guy I think will play a lot more times with the Springboks, whether it's lock, whether it's 7, whether it's 8. I mean, he played at 8 this year when he played. Was it against Georgia or Italy? Either one. I think it was Georgia. He had a good game on his first debut, and I think he's a guy that the coaches are keeping track of him, and I think he's going to play a lot more next year. I think a lot of guys are going to play a lot more next year. Now I've gone for Jean-Luc Dupré. I've gone for a 5. Only played against the Barbarians. Would have loved to see him play. It looked like the coaches really wanted to see him get out there. And I think they're going to have to make a decision on that, because a guy like Jasper Visser can't really be playing all the minutes for you, especially if he picks up an injury. What do you do then? Because they prefer Kwacha as a bench player as well. So a guy like Jean-Luc Dupré, I think he will get more games next year. Hopefully he doesn't get injured before the games or get sick. He's a guy I've always rated very highly, and I think he can make a big impact for the Springbok team. He's not old either. He's not an old player. He's not near the end of his career, but he's in his prime right now. So if we can get him and use him, that would be good. Because otherwise, there's a guy like Joano Augustus knocking down the door from Ulster playing incredible rugby. So he's just got to make sure he's healthy and get some good games, because he will impress. That's for sure. Vincent Chichuka, I've gone for a 6 out of 10. Made his debut as well this year. Really looked ready for Test match rugby every time he played. He is huge. He is absolutely huge. He can play lock, loose forward, 8. Put him anywhere on the field and he'll make a big impact. So I'd like to see him play a bit more next year. I think there's going to be a lot of new combinations next year, especially resting a few players or looking at a few other players, because the world rankings don't matter next year. The World Cup pool's already been done, and somehow South Africa still got the bad rub of the green with having to face either the Wallabies or the All Blacks in the quarterfinals. So when does the world rankings ever matter, to be honest now? So yeah, Vincent Chichuka, I'd like to see him play more next year, and I think he will, but I've given him a 6 out of 10. I think next year if he plays more, it'll be a 7 or an 8, because he's been impressing me at the Sharks quite a lot. Now for the captain, Siya Kolisi, I've gone for a 7 out of 10. Maybe even a 7.5, but I haven't been doing 0.5s for this, but I'll give him a 7.5. I thought he was solid this year. Consistent player. Every time he plays, he's solid. He either always makes a big hit, a big carry, or a big play early in the game to make his mark and to get the team going forward. That's the truth. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. But if you look at the likes of England last year, he made a big tackle on Ben Earl at the back of the line out, made a massive double hit with Jasper Visser and Mario Itoje, and also ran over the Ireland centre last year. And those are the key moments that really helped the Springboks Springboks catapult themselves forward mentally, emotionally, and physically in those games. So I think Sia Khaleesi, 7.5 out of 10. He's been consistent, and I'd like to see how he goes now after maybe a little season at the Stormers before the 2027 World Cup. So that's going to be awesome. Pieter-Steph du Toit, I've gone for a 9 out of 10. I don't really have to say much there. He can win World Player of the Year every single year he plays, and I'm glad people are actually seeing how good he is, because there was a time when people didn't really rate him that highly a few years ago, but now he's just such a good player, and I think he's toned down on the penalties a lot now, and he's just such a consistent player. He's a leader. He leads by action, not by words. The one time he did speak in the semi-final, we all know what happened in the second half of that semi-final. So Pieter-Steph du Toit, a 9 out of 10. Don't have to go too deep into it. We all know he's an amazing player, probably the best 7 flanker in the world, or 6 for the rest of the world, 7 for South Africa. Marco van Staden, I've gone for a 7 out of 10. He played a lot of games this year. He played a lot of minutes as well. And he's a guy I actually rate. He's very underrated. He plays very well for the Springboks. I think he plays better for the Springboks than he does for the Bulls. The problem with people that don't get enough game time is when they do play, they almost try too hard to make things happen. And I think Marco van Staden he's one of those examples, because at the end of the season, he obviously tried to show the coaches, no, I'm the guy who want to play, and he just let off a few penalties, a few silly mistakes, a yellow card, and it sits with the coaches in their mind, but he is still a good player. I don't think he's in the starting lineup yet, but I think in the future he could be. He's not an old guy either. People think he's like an old guy. He's not. He's still in his 20s, I think, so he's still got time. Kwagga Smith, 8 out of 10. One of the most important players for the Springboks. I think Malcolm Marx, Ruan Nortje right now, Jasper Wiese, and Kwagga Smith are some of the most important players in the Springbok forward pack. I mean, the impact this guy makes off the bench. If you think of the likes of Jan-Hendrik Wessels, R.G. Snyman, Kwagga Smith, those guys are, you just think impact. You just think absolute impact from the bench, and those guys are going to play a lot more games together off the bench as the bomb squad, because that right there is a nuke squad. So Kwagga Smith, very explosive. He was so disappointed he didn't play against France that the week after, when they played, which game was it? It was another game he played where he just absolutely dominated. So yeah, it was good. Oh, it was against Italy. The Italy game after France, he just absolutely dominated. Showed the coaches why they need to pick him. And if I was a coach, I would pick him every single time. So yeah, he's going to be a key player for the Springboks going forward over the next 2 years. Maybe might get phased out after the next World Cup, but there's a lot of guys that might get phased out then, because there's a lot of youngsters coming through with a lot of potential and talent. So yeah, Kwagga Smith, 8 out of 10. Now Jasper Wiese had a red card in one of the earlier games in the year, but I'm not going to let that affect the score. I've gone for a 9 out of 10. I think Jasper Wiese, this was probably his best season in the Springbok jersey. He was phenomenal. He was huge, and I really think they're going to have to bring in another 8 to take the load off him a bit more, because they wanted to play Jean-Luc a bit more, but he was injured. But I mean, Jasper Wiese, he plays in Japan, he plays less rugby, so he's ready come international time. He's fresh, he's fit, he's ready to go. And I mean, he's a guy that I think has he's just become so important for the Springboks. Ever since making his debut in that 2021 British and Irish Lions series, he's been phenomenal. He's been absolutely phenomenal, and he's a guy I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see him play every time he's on the team sheet. So yeah, Jasper Wiese, great player. He's also picked up his game a bit with his handling, with his small touches in the game, the finesse part of the game. I thought he's improved immensely, and I'm really excited to see how he goes in the coming seasons. Evan Roos now. There's only 2 guys left. Evan Roos, I've gone for a 5 out of 10. He's a player I honestly rate very highly. I think if he can just get his aggression toned down and manage it a bit better. I see at the Stormers, he's always doing an extra push when not necessary and stuff. And I like the aggression, I do. I just think sometimes it boils over a bit. But if he can channel that aggression into something else on the field, I think he'll be incredible for the Springboks. And I honestly think he's one guy that if he can just get it right mentally, or just get it right, he will play 50 caps for the Springboks. He will be the 2031 8th man or flank or something like that. He will play a big role. So I just want him to get it right. I've gone for a 5 out of 10 because he only played 24 minutes this season. He's a guy that just needs to keep staying consistent because he's playing well for the Stormers, and I think he will get his chance. I think Rassie and the coaches know he has a bit of a problem with his anger right now. He just needs to get that sorted, and he'll be so good for the Springboks. And I think when he is in the Springbok environment, he plays well. I remember the Wales game at Twickenham, the friendly. He was amazing last season. He's won a game against England for the Springboks before. He's a good player. He's an amazing player, and he's still young. So he's a guy I think has a bright future, and I'd like to see him play more next year, and I think he will. I mean, I'm just thinking of some loose trios here. Imagine the likes of, you have Paul de Villiers, Hanekom, Ulrich Loh, Evan Roos, Ruan Venter, Bartosz Lekani. You have Vincent Chichuka, you have such good young loose forwards, and it's going to be exciting to see how they get managed and how they progress going into 2031, especially because those are the main guys for 2031. If you think about it, the likes of Jan Hendrik Wessels, maybe Oxenchair for one more World Cup, Thomas Dutoy maybe, I mean Gerard Steenkamp, those guys are going to be the senior players, so it's going to be interesting to see how they get managed going into the 2031 World Cup. Last but not least, I've gone for Ben Jason Dixon. Now I've gone for a 5 out of 10. He played less than 2024. I think that game against the All Blacks in 2024 damaged his reputation with the coaches a bit, but he's a good player. I think he will be chosen again. I think he will play more. He's still a young guy. He has a lot to prove, and he's been good for the Springboks every time he's played. He just didn't play enough, so I've gone for a 5 out of 10. But y'all guys, those are my player ratings for the Springboks for this season. A lot of forwards have gotten game time, as you can see. A lot of guys have played, a lot of debuts as well, a lot of young guys, a lot of older guys as well. Also, a lot of pecking order changes, which I will cover in a power rankings video for the positions. So you guys stay tuned for that, and I will do a backline video coming out within the next few days. So keep an eye out for that, and also a 2025 review. And I'm not just going to be doing this for the Springboks. I'll be doing it for the All Blacks, for the Wallabies, Argentina, and then obviously after the Six Nations, I'll be doing it for the European teams. But y'all guys, thanks so much for all the support. Please don't forget to like, subscribe to help the channel grow. I really appreciate all the support. I mean, I've only been doing this for about a month and a bit now, and I'm overwhelmed by all the support. I just can't wait for international rugby again. But y'all guys, thank you so much. We'll see you in the next video. Cheers.